But let's get kind of prepped as to where we're going with this. Like, I want to start on the body right away, so then that way we could, like, really get to see what this is going to be like. But I don't know. Last chance to watch Twitch before the move. I'm packing my computer and moving it over. Oh my gosh. How exciting is that, though? You're finally going to have your own spot. How exciting is that? The eyeballs on my gnome look uneven. Oh no. That's the worst. That's truly the worst. Okay. So the body is 31 rounds. It's just a big giant poof ball circle. So hopefully nothing too crazy.
Nighttime. Daytime. Nighttime. Daytime.
Robin, we just had a baby. We had a stream baby, Robin. Hello. How are you, my love? A gingerbread Kirby, right, Jessa? Isn't it so cute? How are you today? Oh my goodness, I am doing really well. We have an ad break coming up in about 45 seconds. I don't want any of you to miss what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go on the BRB screen for a couple of minutes and just let the ads pass. If you end up running into an ad, I'm sorry. Twitch sucks and makes us run ads. So we're gonna make sure that you don't miss anything, any of the actual crafting though. So you'll see a BRB screen come up. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. But I'll also be in chat, so don't stress. We'll still talk, everybody. Talk to you all, and I'll verbalize in a few minutes. Okay, but low-key, I totally forget what photo I used for the Luna and Apollo stitch here on the BRB screen. I 1000% forgot. So we're gonna watch through my BRB screen again until I see it so I can confirm which one it is. I don't know if it's bad, but it's totally on brand, right? I'm glad that somebody else caught that. Like, at least it's on brand. So, like, I recognize that Lunar Princess. That's fine. Deadly Mouse, thank you. Yeah, that's the Discord. You do need 2-factor authentication to get in, just as a heads up. That's for your own safety and for, like, reducing scammers and such. Okay, so there's the throne. I timed this out beautifully, right? So the BRB screen in one full cycle of how I have it set up is just about as long as a 3-minute ad break. So I can usually tell when things stop and start. Nice, Jessa. Nice. Nice. Love that. Oh, hey, by the way, Jessa, don't think you have to get everything, like, perfect on your first start. Like, this has taken 3 years to evolve to where it is with the, like, the fancy screens and stuff. And a lot of this you can end up finding for free. So, like, don't stress it too much if it's not everything you want right off the top. I did not start with a face cam. I only started with one camera, and it was my top down. It just takes a while, and, like, don't be afraid to, like... Yeah, 3 years of a hot mess. No, Dawn, that is not yours, I don't think. Actually, now I'm second-guessing myself. Damn it, Dawn! Damn it all to hell, now I gotta go to Canva and take a look. Now we're gonna go dig into my Canva account and be like, what is this? Oh my gosh, this acorns thing is really starting to piss me off. Okay, Canva, let's just go into a recent thing I did so I can look at my uploaded media. Element, uploads. No, that one's not by you. So that one is a test stitch from Etsy. I pulled that off of a review from Etsy. Yeah, that one's not you. They did do a color modification, which is why we think it was you. But no, they did a color modification because their own orange cat was a lighter orange. But no, it was stitched by a lovely person named Allison. Yeah, so my starting soon screen and my BRB were both made in Canva. So here, I'll actually show you. I am more than happy to share the secret because, oh my god, people charge so much for this shit. And you can do it yourself if you, like, flex your muscles a little. Okay? So this is on Canva. I used a free template. There were elements in here that that were supposed to be paid that I ended up deleting. But I made this so this is my BRB screen. I have a 3-minute timer on it. And between the different slides, like, I put some GIFs in there of the stars. I added transitions to these and just timed them out. And then I kept the same layout and then just ended up swapping out the photos and some of the text. But this was all done for free. This had a solid background before. I ended up putting a background in. I have a background color, but I put my image on there and then I lowered the transparency. I am not showing anything. There we go. That might help you. Here we go. I thought I pushed the button. For some reason, my buttons aren't working. But here it is. It's basically here. There's some GIFs. There's this layout. I swapped the pictures between my slides and the text. I have a background image that I've used. I lowered the transparency on. It's just really playing around with some of the text and images and getting what you like. But there's all sorts of, like, free videos that you can, like free video formats that you can use. Yeah, 3 years and still a hot mess. Yeah, I'm not a pro streamer at all. No, fuck that noise. I'm not a pro streamer. And like the same thing with my starting soon screen, except I got a little bit more complicated on the starting soon. So this is the logo that my husband drew me. Jessa, some things are not free. Some things are not free. You have to be kind of careful. You can upload stuff. So if you found like an image that you wanted to use, or if you had something on your own computer that you wanted to use, you can upload it. Canva is free. You have to have an account, but not everything in Canva is free. So like some things in templates are paid, and you have to like pay to remove a watermark or pay to use a specific template. But if you're willing to like put the time in, you can build something that's completely for free. No, Jessa, it takes time. I didn't put this layout didn't happen. I want to say for the first year and a half. I had no idea how to do this until like I saw a TikTok and I'm like, I know how to make graphics in Canva, but I don't know how to do anything else. So I watched a couple videos and then I took like a half an hour and played with it a bit. So like this one is the hardest part. This one was the hardest one because I had to like screen record and download stuff from my phone. And like you can see here, if I hit play, like my videos end up playing, but I had to like take some of that stuff on my phone and download a lot of stuff off of things, and it took a lot of effort. So this was probably the hardest screen to set up. And then there's other ones like this. Basically, this is all text I did in stream. The curly font, like the cursive font, that stuff I had in Photoshop. I know how to use Photoshop. You don't need to know how to use it to do stuff like this. Yeah, this stuff takes a long time to get. So like if you're a streamer and you're like, I want the fancy things, don't start with the fancy things. I promise you, it's not necessary. Apollo, what are you doing, my little boy? You want to come in here? Meow. 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 Come on. We're gonna go tell people how to not to stress themselves out over fancy things. Yeah, learning new stuff like this is a learning curve. So like take it slow. My recommendation to you would be to use Stream Elements for like look up stuff for Stream Elements and use that. Streamlabs is nice for beginners, but it's a resource hog and it's a pain to switch everything over once you're ready to go and move and like kind of upgrade. Start with Stream Elements. You can grow into it. You can do basic stuff and use some of their free shit and then grow into it. Gnome's gonna have a big head. Love that. All employees must use ID badgers. Yeah, so this stuff takes time, but you can absolutely do it. These are like fan arts that I decided to include, which by the way, if you want to like send me pictures of like fan art or your finishes of my patterns or wearing the merch or using the merch, anything like that, I will happily put it in intros and BRB screens. I want to show off your work. So if there's anything, if anybody wants to like have something on one of these screens and they have like Luna fan art sort of situations, or like just want to send a picture of the merch, let me know. I'll happily put some stuff in here and like make this more community based. The what arrived? Is that what happened, Mousy? What happened? Not very graphically inclined, and I don't know how people who people are. That's fair, Davy. And the only reason that like my layout looks the way it does is I've been comfortable in Photoshop for a minute. I've been very comfortable in Photoshop for a hot minute, to be honest. Apollo, no. Not now. He has... sitting on top of my arm? Oh, the scrunchie arrived. Oh, how do you like it? Is it nice? I did choose cats. You're not wrong. But like Navi, the only reason I know I know what I like is because I've been doing it a while. But the big thing is just like making sure it's in the proportions you want. You just gotta, like, if you want help making a layout, I'll throw this out there. I'll help you. I'll help you make something simple. Like, I am not objective to helping you make something quick and simple. Like, this layout technically did not take long. This took probably about 30 to 45 minutes of my time. It's not too bad. Scarlet, I do need a cat hoodie. There is one on my throne that I kind of have bookmarked, but yeah. Yes, you can. Gail, absolutely you can make layouts in Canva for free too. So like that's not even a problem either. You could absolutely do it that way too. Ray J, hello, how are you, my love? Nice to meet you, Gail. My name is Liz. It's good to see you. I did, Mousy, at one time have a cat hoodie, but he outgrew it. On Throne, we found a dog hoodie. And I think it would fit him better. It's like a mini dog-sized hoodie. Yeah. So I'm thinking that might be the better opportunity here. I'm trapped. Can somebody thank you. I appreciate you, Mousy. I was like, can somebody type it so I can show you? It looks just like my cat hoodie, but it's bigger across, like the cat hoodie I used to have, but it's bigger across the stomach. So it's bigger across the stomach, which is why I was like super into this. But yeah, this is more meant for dogs than cats, but I think it would fit him better. So yeah, that's what that is. Apollo, you're killing my wrist, my dude. You're, oh God. This cat, I swear to God, this animal literally sitting on my arm. Literally, you are sitting on my arm. What is this? What is this tactic? Are you holding me hostage? You can't hold me hostage for another 45 minutes. He's like, bitch, watch me. Thank you. I appreciate my arm. Hi, baby. Stop flashing butthole. You don't need to flash butthole. Stop that. No one needs to see your indecent buttholes, okay? Mother, give me chickens. I know. Apollo was like, your cats? Ooh. You have a chaotic little orange then, huh? That's how you know he loves us, though. It's true. Don't flash your butt. You don't need to flash your buttholes. Stop it. Stop. Thank you. Oh, you big floppy boy on the floor. Now he's a big floppy puddle on the floor. I lost an orange puddle back there. I've got some Fanta orange just chilling on the floor. Kai, hello. I'm so sorry. You should get him a butt gem. Oh my God, I've actually really thought about it, like just for camera. I've thought about it before. But anyway, we are going to start. You have a chaotic oh, that is a chaotic duo. Tabby and Siamese. Ooh, that's spicy.
I'm sticking with Jeffrey. Jeffrey Preston Bezos.
Ray J. Sorry I didn't answer. I'm doing good. Sorry, I thought I answered and my brain's like, you didn't do that, bitch. Ray J, that is 14 months. Thank you so much. You only get one Amazon Prime sub a month. And you chose to make Daddy Bezos give us some coin. I appreciate you. Enjoy your emotes. Do they make them with LEDs? No! Stop! Stop! We don't need... Do you need a butt gem with an LED, sir? Apollo. Hey. Do you want hot gem with an LED? He keeps headbutting me, so I think that might mean yes. You know? You being a sweet boy right now? Booty pat, booty pat, booty pat, booty pat, booty pat, booty pat, booty pat. Butt pats. He's getting butt pats. Are you gonna flop? You gonna flop? Oh, you flopped! You flopped! He's a big puddle on the floor. Meow. No, he's not gonna meow. Damn. All right. So we are gonna make a magic ring and start there. This is all done in single crochets. Interesting. We're gonna make sure we use our stitch markers. My birth mom sent me a humongous care package and included a whole entire batch of stitch markers from Hobbii. Is it Hobbii or Hobby? Who can give me a professional opinion on that? Is it Hobbii or Hobby? You have a cat that barks? Interesting. Did it go off? Did my throne notifications just go off? I can never hear them. You always thought it was Hobby? Ugh, I have no idea what it is anymore. It was transparent and I didn't see it? Oh, shit. I can't get that throne notification thing to fucking work. It's a difficult one. All right, which one of you did this? Which one of you did this? Mousy! 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 Apollo, now you're gonna have a hoodie. Oh, the amount of videos of me harassing my cat by putting him in a hoodie and closing it and saying, "Shut the fuck up. It's gonna be so good. You're screwed, little boy." He's like, "Shit, what do I do now?" Mousy, thank you so much. I'm so excited. I don't know why my notifications show up like so invisible-ish. I don't get it. I'll have to look into it. Okay, so I want 6 of these. There we go. So I'll do one every 5 rows. I'll do a stitch marker every 5. Little boy, are you trying to get out? You wanna go out? What's up? What? You need to yell at them. I'm hanging out with my friends. Bye, everybody. Let's go. Let's go put you with your dad. What? Oh, this son of a bitch! This son of a bitch! Your money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. Just like you just fell off the chair. Good job, my dude. Duh. I start to move the chair forward and he's like, "Nope, my spot now." The one time I decided to put you on my chair to get me out of the way, and now you're just like, "Oh, that's my spot, right?" I'm gonna sit on you. My guy, I'm gonna straight up sit on you.
They're magical little Plutons. They're gonna show us the way.
Thank you for showing us the way. I can't see the name. I can't read. Oh, Jessa, thank you. Yeah, it's a cat stream now. I just... I got a belly. I got a belly. Oh, that's a big belly. That's such a big belly. That's such a big belly, buddy. That's a big belly. Ah! Oh, he's wild child now. Oh, get off my cardigan, rat bastard. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You guys never get to see this side of Apollo, so I'm really glad that y'all can witness this. You know what? I'm gonna save the cardigan. I don't want the cardigan to die. We just finished her. But you know what I am gonna do? I'm gonna sit my happy little butt down. Don't bite my hand. Okay, and you make it impossible to move your chair. Come on. I know. You just want it to be all about you. And then you tear a hole in my favorite shirt. So much shorter and more orange? I know, I am short. I am short and orange, apparently. How are you? You might lose some butt cells. Yeah, that's a bad idea. What did I miss? Oh my god, hi Doug, how are you? Wow, I missed a lot. Kai, you should buy a diamond painting. Just do it. Just do it. Both of the guys you're talking to? I mean, if you haven't put a freaking label on it, then it's none of their business. If you haven't put a label on either relationship, it's none of their business, Sobel. Yeah, that turned into a cat stream. Apollo took over my chair. It's a warm stuff. What do you expect? It's true. It is his stream now. It's true. I see you are a streamer now. If you need a job, you should apply at Search and Rescue. They're always looking for people. Hey, yo, I love it. Thanks, Liz also says to Frozen. Mood. Absolute mood. Yeah. It is like 90% of our DMs is just cat photos. It's true. History. Aw, yay. I'm glad it's helping. Yeah, unless they know about each other. I don't know. Yeah, Ray J, he's a vicious boy. Like, hold on. Like, that scar is from him, but I can feel that he put a hole in me somewhere over here on my wrist. So that's from him. Any tattoo that, or like any mark on this right or this left arm.
They're gonna show us the way.
E-Cakes, thank you so much. I appreciate you. All of those. Oh, yeah, see? Brand new one. Brand new one. Right in the middle of my tattoo. Thanks, buddy. This is the third time that you've scratched this tattoo, my dude. At least he missed, like, all the detailed line work. I will give him props on that one. Good job, Kat. Yeah. Bird Girl, hello, how are you? What happened back at Halloween, Doug? Some ghost came to trick. Oh no, it's a dad joke. Ah! They took multiple pieces of candy, even though I told them each one. How many did you take? They said one. I said they knew where they were like, because they're ghosts. They can see right through them. Why? Ow. Fuck, that pillow talk hurt. Why must you be this way? Oh my god, I love it. So if I don't tell them, I'm the only one that'll feel awkward. If I tell them, then we all will. I wouldn't tell them unless they ask. I mean, if they don't know about each other, like, I don't know. Or you could be honest and be like, hey, you could be honest, but you would run the risk of running them both off. But if you don't tell them both, you also run the risk of running them both off if they find out. Sir, excuse me, sir, I will sit on you. Exactly. That is the energy that you have to approach Apollo in. Otherwise, he's a disaster. I worked so hard on this market bag and I goofed up in placing the handles too far. No, stop. Oh no. They both know I'm talking to another person. They both know you're talking to other people. Only disclose it if they ask. Honestly, only disclose it if they ask. If they both know you're talking to other people, you're still at a point where you don't have to trust them with everything. Yeah. Don't disclose it unless they ask. Just keep it cool. Keep it cute. But I'm a fool. Oh, no, you're not. It's just sometimes placement sucks. Okay. I'm really shitty at magic rings. So, we're gonna do that. Keep that as like my quote-unquote anchor. So now we need to do 6 single crochet. So we are using a 4.5 millimeter hook with this chunky yarn, which is so exciting. I love the blanket yarn like this. This is so cozy. We're actually gonna do an Amy. How chaotic is that? If I can hold this yarn and make this work in my brain, there we go. Okay. So there's our magic circle. Nice and chunky. I love. Looks cozy. Zippy, hello. You have now an unnecessary need for a gingerbread Kirby. Absolutely you do. Pattern is linked in chat, by the way. If daddy can do it, so can you. Thank you. That's the vote of confidence I needed. If daddy can do it. Mom makes some ramen. Oh, I want ramen. Mousy, I love you. Have fun. Make me some ramen. Send me pictures at least. You're onto the body of the gnome? Yes. Body, yaddy, yaddy. Elspeth is gonna apply for a new job. Oh, good for you. Good for you. Sida! Hello, Sida. How are you, honey? It's good to see you. Okay, so now it's 6 increases. Okay. So the problem with this pattern, as cute as it is, the end of each row does not tell you how many stitches have to be there. So, this is going to be that moment where we have to count. And it's all in the round. So, like, I know that's what that stitch marker was for that just flew off behind my speaker. Yeah, I saw the dino and I died. I think the dino's adorable. So we're doing some increases. Make sure you go and support that shop, please. Exclamation point pattern if you want to go check it out. This was a kit from an Etsy shop that Stream here completely funded. So I'm just super excited that y'all are wanting to see the gingerbread curbs. No worries, Sobel. Enjoy your lurk. Puffles, you just got a new pattern. Ooh, tell me more. No satisfaction. Ramen sounds great, though. Doesn't it, though, Melody? Lots of stitch markers. Yeah, absolutely. I've got 6 stitch markers set aside, 1 for every 5 rows. So there's like 31 rows total, but I figured have a marker every 5 rows or so would be a good way to help me keep count. Okay, so let me double check and make sure I got the number right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where did I fuck this up? What? What? Okay, hold on. Hold the phone. God, I can't count for shit, apparently.
Two plus 2 is 4. Minus 1, that's 3. Quick maths.
Thank you. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Five, 6. 7, 8. 9. 10. 11. And 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There we go. It's fine. Bandit, I'm good. How are you, my love? Trying to make slippers, the ADHD in me is giving me massive executive dysfunction, though. Kissa, I feel that. Is it Kissa or Kisa? I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Also, hi. I hope that we can help with the inspiration. That would be great. We're working on a Kirby today. Bandit, I'm doing really good. We're just trying to count. I can't count. I can't count for shit. Crochet requires a lot more counting than knitting. Listen, the other thing with that too is just like, why is there math in our crafting? I hate that. It's Kisa. Okay, perfect. Kisa, thank you. Hi, how are you? Lily, absolutely. Let me hydrate. You gotta get the memes out there. Got a new desk. Nice. Love that for you, Bandit. Also, that new pattern that Puffles that you picked up, that Psyduck, your little sailor duck. Oh my god, what a stinking cutie. And of course it's One Up Crochet. One Up Crochet is just fabulous. Like, that's so cute. I love that. Yes, Isengard, absolutely. We live for like late 2000s, early 2010 memes. Like, we love them. Hobbits to Isengard came out when I was in high school. Let's just put it that way. And I brought the silky dress. Oh no, my hand slipped. Oh, oh no. It's can only be sir, but it checks out. It always checks out. Always, always, always. Kai, I love the emotes. Your dance break is too short. It's 17 seconds. I have bad dance moves. I was on my way to become a professional ballroom dancer, and I have shit dance moves outside of ballroom. Okay? Let's just think about that for a second. I was trying to become a pro ballroom dancer, and I can't do like my chair dances for anything. No. No. No, ma'am. just a straight up no, ma'am. Who's commenting on all of my shit? I'd like to speak to a manager. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's funny. Okay, so the next round, we're on round 3. 1 single, 1 increase times 6. So we're going to be at an end of 18 on this one. Who would have thunk that I could do math? It was on sale, so win. But ow, my wallet. Yup. 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 I feel this deep in my soul, and just yup. It's the only answer I can provide is just yes. Okay, so the first stitch in this round is a single. So let's do that single, throw that stitch marker back in. And then it's an increase. Oh, not a round, not a yarn over. Stop it. And then a single. And an increase. And then a single. An increase. This came as a kit. She doesn't have any more of these kits available, but the pattern is available. So if you want to take a look at this and like make this along with me, ! pattern. And you can go ahead and grab that pattern from her. It's like $3.50. Nothing too chaotic. Okay, so hold on. So that's increase, single, increase, single. So that needs to be an increase right here. Okay. Let me see if I can finish this row and then double check it with the count, and then we'll check chat. As someone who used to tutor math at community college, I'm surprised when I math. I feel that, Sita. You ordered a new Lolita dress. Oh my gosh, Nuke Die. Any theme to it? Or is it just something super outrageously cutesy? Doing a stitchy project with a huge border. Guess what? It's lined up. Oh, that is the most... Oh, that is the best feeling. That's a feeling that's almost as good as sex. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like when you get a border, a gigantic border at that, to finally match up. Oh, that feeling is just... so good. It's telling me to not stuff the head to like get up to the shoulders, and it's frustrating because it keeps indenting. Oh, that's so frustrating, Bailey. I got a Furls Hook dupe on Amazon. Okay, I was thinking about those. How are you liking them? Because every single one that I found, Ray, the biggest complaint is that they don't ship them very well, and they're broken by the time they get in. So I'm really curious to know your thoughts. Okay, so let's double check our count. That is not what I meant to do. Okay, we're on 18. So we've got 3 rounds done. Let's see what the next one is. Okay. So it starts off with a single. Okay, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to avoid a seam being visible. So they're trying to camouflage it. So it was it was a single and then an increase, and now it's 2 singles and an increase times 5. So this is part of number 1. This is part of number 2. Gotta just count because otherwise I will not do a good job. For me? What'd you find for me, you goof? That page did not work, Noog. I don't know what happened, but that page is not working for some reason. That link is just breaking. I don't know what happened. It's the apostrophe. For some reason, it's treating the apostrophe weird. Sobel, that is cute. I think that's adorable. And I'm saving it in one of my collections for later. That is such a cute quilt pattern. Love that. It's a cat pattern. Did my music turn off? It did. Good catch. Thank you. Yeah, Sobel, yours worked. It's a gnome, so I'm finding it's a little derpy. That's fair. I got the handles off. Now I gotta do like the pattern set and pin them before sewing. You are gonna be totally fine. I trust. Oh my gosh. Now I don't know where okay, now I don't know where I am. Hold on. That's a very common problem here. So that's a single, that's an increase. Okay, so then single, single, increase, single, single. Increase. Okay, we're gonna keep going with it and see if it's right. Okay, let's see. How to distract Liz in like 5 minutes. Send like 5 million different like Etsy things, and then Liz can't remember how to count. So you all know how to distract me, apparently. Good job, I guess. Okay. Then it goes single, single. Increase, and then the last stitch is a single. There we go. I'm far worse. I'm worse than a boomer lost in a new city. I hate taking directions or admitting I'm wrong. I feel that. Souffle Song isn't the bad brand. They had a few bad years though. Got you. Okay. Okay, Nuke sent a photo. Oh my god, that's so cute! Oh my god, you are adorable. I cannot wait to see this outfit on you. This is totally your style. Like, everything we've seen of you, this is so your style. How cute! Does it come with the headband bow, though? Like, that's a big question. Like, asking the real questions. Does it come with the headband bow? Like, asking some real questions here. Asking the real tea. Asking for the real tea. Okay, so that was row number 4. So, on this one, I can undo that. Come on. Thank you. There we go. So that's 3 and then an increase. Okay, now I know where we're at. Okay, cool, 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 cool. You should hide a gingerbread potpourri in it. Okay, that'd be adorable. That'd be adorable. I have to find one of those pretty quick though, because this body's gonna work up fast. This body is 31 rows, and it's gonna work up quick. Zakayla, you gorgeous bean, how are you? I would love to hug the gingerbread Kirby already, 100%. 100%. 1, 2, 3, increase. 1, 2, 3, increase. We'll get the pics when it arrives. Perfect, thank you. That's just off the website. Ugh. Well, I can't wait to see how you style it, Noog. Glenn, I had to take a break from arts and crafts as I've done close to 20 since the holiday time. Yeah, otherwise you'll burn out. I know you'll burn out. So yeah, make sure you take a break. Is this my first Emmy? No, not technically. It's probably my first, like, actual, like, okay. We did this one. We've done the orange together. But, like, I've made a couple of other Emmys, but that was like 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. No, it was actually longer than that. Like, almost 7 years ago. It's been a minute. So, I'm not good at this anymore. And I just found floof. Floof. Okay. Increase. Okay. The round is always difficult for me because of, you know, the whole counting bit. Two, 3, increase. There we go. Yeah, made it to the other side. Cool. How are you liking the Yunky Charn? It's interesting. This is my first, like, crochet experience with this yarn. We did try to knit with this yarn, and that was interesting. I don't know. I'm kind of liking it, but, like, I'm hoping it just turns out right. I think I'm more just worried about the counting. Boot just complete. Nice. You did the Bulbasaur for Frozen, right? I did the Bulbasaur for Frozen, but I never finished his eyes, and he got destroyed pretty recently. I made a couple of Poros from League of Legends. I've made a 1-up mushroom. I've got a 1-up mushroom over on the other side of the room. I've made a couple of those. So, like, Emmys aren't completely foreign to me, but I'm really bad at counting. Why is there no ramen? I am also upset too. Noog is cute as hell. I agree with that. But I don't know if it'll ever be in stock in my size and I can't find it anywhere else. We are gonna have to find this for you. Somewhere. Yeah, that other link simply wasn't working because of the apostrophe. I don't know why. So many buttons to push. So many buttons! Graceful Mother Tuck and Dawn. Anyway. This is taking forever to load and I don't know why. This is cute. This is really cute. Yeah, you need that. No, you really need that. You needed that yesterday, Noog Die. I totally get why you'd want that to be your wedding dress, Noog. That's gorgeous. My internet's being dumb. It won't let me load all the photos, so I'm just gonna... No, Dawn, you sent me tons of Facebook messages. That's why I'm complaining about you. Because I was going through my notifications. It's like, nope, that's Dawn. Nope, that's Dawn. Nope, that's Dawn. Nope, that's Dawn. And again, nope, that's Dawn. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, 2 single increase, and then it's gonna be stupid. Okay, so... Okay, so it's trying to even out the seam again. So that's 6, where we just marked.
Nighttime.
Nighttime.
Daytime.
Daytime.
Nighttime.
Nighttime.
Daytime.
Daytime. Astro Monkey, thank you for resubscribing. 8 months. That's so sweet. Thank you. I mean, Irish, is it mean when it's said out of love? Wait a second. The math ain't mathin'. My math isn't mathing. Okay. My math didn't math. Okay. Okay. And then that's the increase. Okay. So then 4 singles and an increase. Okay, that works. Monkey, I appreciate you. You're so sweet. I'm just trying to exist. I need to math better, you're right. Yeah, listen, I can be a good content creator, but I can't math, so I don't know how that works. We've got an ad break coming up in about a minute. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that break. I'm gonna go feed the cats. I just got them brand new food dishes, so I'm hoping they like them. I'm really hoping they like them. I hope nobody throws a hissy fit that I have switched out their food bowls. But when we come back, we're gonna do some more amigurumi. We're gonna keep making this gingerbread cutie patootie. And at some point, we need to wake up Frozen, because I know he went to bed at like 8 o'clock this morning. He went to bed long enough to feed, he went to bed long enough after so he could feed the cats. Okay, I've got an ad break coming up. Go stretch, go drink, go do what you need to do, and I will be right back. So the cats just looked at their new dish and went, oh shit, that's new. Yeah, so they both were like super happy about having their food bowls and having lunchtime. But they both got these new bowls. I'll show you. Because of course they did. These cats are so spoiled. I don't know if anybody understands. My animals, I don't know what it is, but we've ended up spoiling them so much that it's actually slightly concerning. Okay? So, let me see. They're not in there. Oh, shoot. They need to be added on there. Because I think they like them. I think they like the dishes. Cats get whisker fatigue. Jess, how are you? I'm so excited you're here. I know, isn't it so cute? It's so cozy. Look how warm and cuddly that is. The other problem I have with this is like, I know it's supposed to go, like, I can't tell if it's supposed to go this way or this way. I don't know. It looks cozy and yummy. Glenn, you have a good one, my friend. I forgot about my cactus. Hasn't been watered in 4 months. It's still alive. Well, thank God for that. Okay, but cats get whisker fatigue if they eat and if the bowl is not wide enough, right?
They're magical little player downs. They're gonna show us the way.
Kisa, thanks for the follow, honey. I appreciate you. Marie! Oh my God, how are you? How have you been? And Laurel, how are you, my friend? But cats can get whisker fatigue if the bowl is too shallow or like it's not wide enough. And then they're not supposed to bend their head down all the way and like strain their neck and their upper back. So this is an extra wide bowl and it's the bougiest thing, I swear to God. It's got some height on it. And it's an extra wide but pretty shallow bowl. So it's meant for them to not have to strain when they eat. It's been one of those. Tail is on the inside. Thank you, Puffles. Hey, Frozen, did you see the new cat dish? Did you see the new cat dish? Did you see the new cat dish? Well, make sure you look at them both, because we're using them. I adore that man sometimes. Nat, how are you, friend? It's good to see you. So, should I be crocheting it like this? Like an inverted contact? Like an inverted contact lens? Or should I flip it when it comes closer to like stuffing the thing? Noodle in the bowl. My dad bought it for me a couple months ago and I just forgot about it. Ah, I got you. Technically it won't matter, but I tried to curve it right away. That's super fair. Thank you. Hi. Who's doing what? No, she'll want to go in until you instigate her to go in. She wants to come in here and explore the closet. My cat is also queer friendly, apparently. She wants to keep going in and out of closets. Saren! Saren says hi, Frozen. I really don't want to get allergy shots again. Ugh, that sucks.
Hey, wait a minute. Allergy shots?
Yeah, Jess has to get allergy shots.
Wait, like the good kind where they keep your allergies from messing with you for months at a time? I love those allergy shots.
Yeah, but you know, those are rough. You love working with this kind of yarn. It's been soft. I'm actually not mad at it so far. Lily, how are you, friend? Okay, so we got that round completely done. So that was row 6. So we're on row 7 now. We're about to start row 7. What do you think of the new cardigan? It's done.
Well, I was gonna say something, but then you were just wearing it.
I know.
And we didn't talk about it at all.
No, I know. We finished it on stream today.
Mother.
I know. We finished it on stream. Who would have guessed?
Son of a...
Okay, so now we're gonna start row 7. So that's 5 singles and then an increase. Hi, Apollo. Bye, Apollo.
Hi, Puffles.
That was the start of a double. How dare? How dare I do this to us? Okay.
Is there a coffee or something?
No, I didn't make coffee this morning. There's a ton of coffee from yesterday though, and I know you're okay with reheating it. So.
Ow.
What?
My thunder caught your shirt.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
I'm still sorry because it sucks. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an increase. There we go. Sometimes instructions are more like suggestions. Yeah, kind of. I'd agree with that. The one thing I'm kind of irritated about in this pattern, and I'll show you real quick. I don't normally like showing full patterns on stream just because, you know, be respectful to the artist. So at the end of each row on these, usually there's like a parentheses with a number to tell you how many stitches are in your total row. This doesn't have that. To me, that's irritating. If that makes any sense. I like to know if I can, like, go count it. I hate having to do the math. Guidelines instead of actual rules. Yeah, that's... Graceful Dawn, that's your approach on life, so stop. Yeah, I would have gone through and done that too. But this is Sleeping Luna Designs where we're squirrels and we don't know, we don't do things logically. Ever. Pro streamer alert. Procrastinating. Okay. 3, 4, 5. Increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then an increase. There we go. We're getting there. Okay, so I stopped at an increase. Craft is math. I hate that. Math is stupid. Yeah, Dawn doesn't follow the rules. What rules? How does everyone crochet so neat? Cries in jealousy. Practice. Literally, it's practice. And this isn't... It could be neater. Also, this yarn is forgiving. This yarn hides a lot. So, just like, don't forget, this yarn also hides a lot of sins. This yarn hides tons of sins. The gnome's slowly getting his body, yaddy, 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 yaddy. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Increase. Perfect. We're lined up beautifully. These clover style hooks are really nice. Now that I'm using one, it's actually quite nice. Humongous fan. It's amazing that they gave this in the kit. Everything we're using right now, except for the metal stitch markers, came from the kit. She doesn't have any more kits of this particular one, but if you use exclamation point pattern, the seller does indeed have the pattern for this available. Clovers are all you use? Yeah, this is my first time using a clover. So I'm quite excited. So we're on row 8. Okay, I see how they're doing it. That's fine. Okay. It's 3. And then an increase. And now it's 6 singles, then an increase all the way around, and then 3 singles. Arsenic, hey lady, how are you, friend? Hey, look it, we're twinsies now. We're twinsies. We got our twinsy yarn going. Daddy uses clovers. Well, Daddy has his preferences. Daddy Pix has preferences. And if you're just wondering and you're like, who is she calling Daddy? There's another streamer on here called Pix Stitch. He's amazing. He's wonderful. You'll think he's hilarious. But I'm Mommy Chaos. He's Daddy Chaos. We're the chaotic parents of makers and crafting. It's true. I'm Mommy Chaos and he's Daddy Chaos. We're the chaotic parents of makers and crafting. No, Dawn. Here's the thing, Dawn. You didn't decide this one. Chat did. What chat says is canon, so I can't fight it. I can't fight this one. They trusted me with this one. I know. But I am Mommy Chaos. Sorry. It is. He'll snap at you? Nah, he won't snap at me. Farah! Hi! He is King Daddy Pix. Ooh. Okay. That's a spicy new one. And then I guess I'm Queen Mommy Squirrel. Or Queen Mommy Chaos. Either or. I'm into it. I'm weirdly into it. Just for you. Oh, no, not at you, no. I got snapped at. Oh, no! Yeah, I know it's for the joke, but... Hold on, 4. 5. 6. I bet you he will snap at me for it one of these days, but that's okay. We'll wear the joke until it can't be worn. We'll use the joke until we know we've pushed the boundary, or like we're close to the boundary. He does need a new title though. Dawn needs a new title too. Farah, how are you, sweetheart? Bailey, you're gonna make a marshmallow plushie? I love that. Sweetling, I think if you just don't use it, I think it always it's about balance of that. It has to be the right timing. So, well, worst case scenario, reach out, send a message if you feel like you need to. Sunny T, welcome back. Oh, nap time is always wonderful. Yes, yeah, Sweetling, there's been a lot going on lately. Worst case scenario, send a message and just explain, and you two can talk it out. You talk it out like adults. You know, it's the best way. Open communication is the best communication. You know what I mean? I need nap time that I'm home. Now that I'm home, oh, I need nap time too. Pix is honestly one of the nicest people. It's very true. All right, let's do the next set of 6 so I can count. I can't count. Do. It's 3. It's 4. It's 5. And that's 6. And an increase. Interacting with people is exhausting. In person interacting with people can be very exhausting. I agree with you. Been debating on streaming and I'm like, how would I talk the whole time? If you ever like don't know what to do, I remember my early days, and I do it a lot now too. I do. I end up narrating what I do and why I do it. Like, don't give away every single one of your trade secrets, no ma'am. But, let's see. Like, don't give away all your trade secrets, but like narrate what you're doing and why you're doing it. Like, treat it educationally. Or just explain your logic, you know what I mean? Fuck. Okay, I think it's one more and then an increase. Let me double check this. Hold the phone. Okay, we're in the right spot. We're good. We're good. We're good. Coral Island, nap, or stitching? I would say nap, but also Coral Island because I don't know. You don't people well? I feel that. I mean, like trying to follow patterns and talk, counting would mess me up. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Hold on, 1, 2. Okay, I think I'm back on track. Sometimes you have to just not talk to other people. Okay. And then single. There you go. Cool. We did it. Another round. Another round in here. Bum, bum, bum. I've got another round. See, and Nino and Floss, you and I are the same on that front. I was raised as an only child too. I'm like, you talk to yourself to entertain yourself when you're an only kid. You gotta talk to yourself. You gotta do voices with your toys. You gotta, yeah, you do all sorts of stuff to try to entertain yourself. 100%. Farrah, awesome. Thank you. So I play House Flipper? That's fair. Why does DBD make you sad now? Forwards Puffles bill for wall repair to Frozen. No! Arsenic, enjoy your lurk, my love. I'm so happy you're here. I can never crochet in stream because I'll just be counting out loud instead of speaking. Yeah. See, that's why I put it down in between rounds, too. We figure it out slowly. Game Squish. Oh, that 100% makes sense. And Puffles, how are you doing? I never got the opportunity to meet Squish, so I wish I could help make everything feel better. But everything you've said has made me feel that Squish was wonderful. Nat, thank you! We just finished it today on stream. We finished it earlier. I'm so excited about it. It's super comfy. Not well. Yeah. That happens, but I wish I could give you hugs, Puffles. Coral Island for a few days and then a nap. Okay, that's good. That's a good balance. We like the balance. Okay, so now we're on row 9, which is 7 singles and increases. I like that plan. Okay. Puffles, you'll have to tell me about her sometime. How about we talk about, how about you and I plan on like discussing it at some point? I want to know all the fun things. Okay, so that's 7, and then we have an increase. Oh! Liz, do you want to see my quilt project? Absolutely, I always want to see your... Sobel, you always know I want to see your quilt project. That is funny. Oh, that is so funny. Okay, but that is too cute. So it's like the big majority of the quilt and then the missing block. Oh, that is too funny. I love it. That is so good. That's just pure humor. That is what the kids would call camp. Right? It is genius, truly. How are you, Caroline? Okay, so we got the first 7 and an increase. All right, I'm gonna go back to counting real quick. All right. And an increase right there. Cool. Three, 4. 7. And an increase. All right, I'm just gonna power through the round and then I'll catch up on chat. We're gonna do 1 round in chat. That's gonna be how this has to work. Okay, that's an increase. Perfect. I'm in the right spot. We've got the counting correct, friends. This is a rare moment when the counting is going correct for so long. Can we get hype? Can we get some hype? We've been able to count correctly for a large chunk of the day. This doesn't occur. So I think some hype is in order. Only have 2 pieces of cheese Danish left? Oh no! Well, it sounds like you need to make more cheese Danish. Caroline's doing all right. Went to a queer knitting crochet circle. Oh, how cute! Oh, that's so stinking adorable. I love that, Caroline. That has to feel really nice and cozy and at home. You know what I mean? Sobel's gonna make another one. Okay, I like the purple too. But in this photo, you can't see the quilting detail as well, as well as you could the other one. And I think that really makes it pop, you know? No hype, only doom? Yeah. Yay, counting! I know! We're counting! Who would have figured? Who would have figured? Oh, I didn't make it. I bought it yesterday. Oh, well, hey, it sounds like you need to go buy more cheese Danish then. Speaking of all this, though, I'm gonna make my first loaf of gluten-free bread this weekend. Okay, so this next one is row 10. Gotta push that stitch marker to the outside real quick. Cool, so I can do 2 singles first. Our upstairs neighbors have their friends' kids over today. And they're literally parading up the stairs outside so loud that it's shaking my walls and I can hear their conversations. Yay! Does this count as a baking stream? Slippy, I totally think it does. I think it could. I mean, we're making some gingerbread. How are you, Slippy? Liz is making soup all over this curb. What up? Okay, so the first part of this curb is of this row for row 10 is 4 singles and then an increase. Do we want this zoomed in at all? I feel like the desk, like the camera's pretty high up. Do we want the camera closer to the table? Halfway through your work week. Yay, love that. Also extremely introverted, so that's probably why. Oh, no, these neighbors genuinely suck. It's okay. No, these neighbors just genuinely suck. We've been battling the upstairs neighbors regarding noise for a while. Like, they get to a point where they're so noisy and, like, so heavy-footed. They're super tiny. So I don't understand why. They're super, super itty-bitty individuals with just, like, elephant footsteps. I don't get it. But they shake my Loungefly bags. Like, behind my computer monitors, I have my whole wall of Loungefly bags. And they literally have shaken those bags and knocked one off the wall before. It's freaking wild. So that's 4 and an increase. And now we're going to do 8 with increases and then 4 singles. Okay. Counting time. All right, going back to silent. If y'all want to, like, make me stop and read, I'll be back in a minute on that one. I gotta count for a minute. 4. Wait. What? That's an increase? Okay, so that's 5. Increase. 3. 4. 6. 7. That's 8. And that's an increase. Apollo, do I hear you outside my door? Meow. Meow. You yelling at me, sir? Meow. You can come in. You just have to push the door open. My cat's an idiot. Sounds like my kids, yeah. Your chaos cat decided she wanted to eat rubber bands. Is your chaos cat in orange? Oh no! Aren't most cats idiots? Pretty much. You still want ramen? I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. I don't blame you. Ramen sounds amazing right now. I might make Frozen order us ramen tonight. Okay. Okay, let's see. Am I gonna make this? So this is the increase, and what I should have left... Nope, I screwed up somewhere. I screwed up.
2+2 is 4. -1, that's 3. Quick maths.
That's fair. It's fine, but we'll figure it out. So... 1, 2, 3, 4. Increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Increase. Increase. Yeah, I'm gonna have to redo this whole row. Damn. That's fine. One and 2, I trust.
2+2 is 4. -1, that's 3. Quick maths.
Dawn, it's the same frog. Stop it. No, that's the same. No, it's the same frog, honey. No, Nope, nope, nope. There we go. No, it was part of the same one. I stopped to count to see if I could find the mistake, and I couldn't. So I just kept frogging. No, you're good. Math does suck. Revenge of the maths? Absolutely. Okay, so it starts with 4 singles. So single, 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 and then an increase. Okay, now we have to do 8. Okay, so there's 8, and then an increase. Okay. When did that counter start? When I first started streaming. When I first started streaming. So that counter is 3 years old. It's pretty intense. All right, so I just did an increase. Let's do 8 more. And then let's do an increase. 8 more. Wait. Yeah, that's it. Okay, cool. Four. 5. 6. 7. 8. Increase. Cool. 3 Marie, it is a bulky weight yarn. They don't give a brand on this one. So this was part of a kit. I want to feel like it's a Bernat, like part of their blanket line, but I can't tell. So the kit came pre-caked like this. Nova, hey gorgeous, hello. How are you? I caught you almost 3 hours in. Yeah, sorry I haven't messaged you back, by the way. I saw your text and I'm like, shit, I haven't replied back, but I've been here. See, and now I'm lost. Oh crap, did I just do an increase? I think I just did an increase. Yeah, I just did an increase. Okay, cool. I think I'm in the right spot. I think. It's a chenille? It's not Bernat, it's chenille. Ooh, Puffles, I wonder what brand makes a good chenille. Can you provide any recommendations? But am I sure? No, never. Home Slim from Michaels, but I'm not sure. I need to find something similar. Yeah, it's so cute. It's truly adorable. You can do so many cute versions of this, though. Okay. We're gonna keep going. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Increase. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, we're in the right spot. Okay, perfect. So you'll notice what we're doing. We've got a couple of these metal ones on. We're doing these every 5 rows just to be able to count better. So it's visually different for myself. Nova, you could totally crochet. I totally believe in you. You could crochet. You could crochet. Next week, you're going to get some ramen? Yes. Love that. Parfait Chunky or Dolphin? It's comfy as hell. Okay. So we just finished round 10. Okay, so we have one more round of increases. We have one more round of increases, and then I need to math. So, I am not excited. Your hands won't let you. You stick to it. You can stick a needle in a hole. Oh, I love that, though. That's great timing on that. I am going to get out another one of these. Actually, 2 more. So we can mark where the regular rounds start and end. Okay, so round 10, we're doing 9 singles and then or round 11, we're doing 9 singles and an increase. So, stitch number 1, let's go. And if you're wondering what we're working on, here's a link to the pattern in chat. It is, so the group sent a beautiful, wonderful kit over to the house so we could do this together as a group. But you can buy the pattern individually. The kit is sold out for it, but I bet you if you message her, she might be able to put a kit together. You can do the math. I know. Whoa! I'm excited to see that, Nova. You're on a yarn buying ban, 3Berry? Why are you on a yarn buying brand? Buying ban. Words. She does have a regular curb kit available. It is slightly different in pattern from this one, too. Okay, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, God, no. Crap baskets. Liz can't count. I think this is 9 right here, but we'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It is! Woo! Yay, counting! I have so much, like, in storage all over my house. I need to ban yourself for a year. I mean, you could, in the Discord, we do have, like, we do have a channel called Lunazon. Basically, think of it as like a buy-sell trade thread. So, if you want, you could put some, if you know you're never going to touch some of your stuff, you could put it up there on the buy-sell trade as a lot. And have people pay shipping. I mean, did you do that? I need to turn this. Yeah, so that's, so if anybody's ever looked in the Discord and they're like, what the heck is Lunazon? No, think of that as your buy-sell trade thread. So, like, I don't get in the middle of any of your deals. But I host an area, I have an area for you to put, like, a buy-sell trade in search of, etc., etc. And then y'all work out payment details in DMs. Makes it easy. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Increase. Okay, so I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and an increase. And maybe Liz herself will buy your shit. Yeah, it's true. I will probably, yeah, it's true. If you have pretty yarns and things and like, yeah. I have uncontrollable spending power. It's a problem. No, I forget who originally suggested it, but JB Cohen came up with the name for Lunazon, and there's like a logo and everything. Like JB Cohen like fully flushed that out. Like there's a name, there's a logo, like there's a whole thing. It's adorable. I have a bunch of yarn I have a bunch of pretty yarn I'm getting rid of. Ah! Oh my god, don't even tell me that. Oh my god. My yarn stash can't handle. Increase. 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. Increase. Okay. Increase and then 1. Okay. I gotta count again. Gotta count. 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, increase. Okay. I'm gonna keep going. I'll catch up on chat in a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, increase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, increase 'We're in the right spot. We're doing it. We're in the right spot. I'm trying to stock my 3 shops by color. Oh, nice. That's cute though, Marie. I love that. Following by them doing greens and yellows. That's super cute. Marie, you know, a crafty day in is coming up. Exclamation point ACDI. Also, Nova, my love, you need to get in on this too. A crafty day in is basically like our virtual craft fair. 100% volunteer run, no fees to join if you're a vendor. We do streaming hype trains if you're a streamer. We do social posts. We help you, like, we share your stuff, you share our stuff. It's kind of cool. Exclamation point ACDI. There you go. So it's called Crafty Day In. We take about 40 vendors outside of the people who organize it. And we run basically like a virtual craft fair. So it came up because Sarah Nadia and BK Lug had noticed that the pandemic really screwed with, you know, craft shows and sales. So we're like, why not host a virtual one? But we don't want to make it complicated. So that's where they came up with a Crafty Day In, and the team's kind of just expanded over the last 2-3 years, and it's kind of fun. We have some really cool new vendors that we've never had before too that have been applying, and I'm gagged. Like, the talent that all of you present in this, I'm gagged. I'm gooped. I save money for this. I actually save up, and I have a budget for what I'm allowed to spend at a Crafty Day In because of how amazing y'all are. I'm definitely, I'm finally gonna, to my big Forza Fate! Oh, that's so exciting, Nova! Oh my god, you must be stoked. Liz has a tension ring on her throne. You have some of them. Ooh. Maybe we could, think of a tradesies? Okay, perfect. Let me do this last round here real quick. This last set. All right, so that is the end of row 11, is where we just stopped. Now, if I am mathing the math, the pattern repeats as 9 singles and 1 increase, and that repeats 6 times. So if I am mathing the math, that is 66 stitches. 2 plus 2 is 4 minus 1, that's 3 quick maths. I'm pretty sure 9 singles and 1 increase is 11 stitches, and times that by 6 and you get 66. So, I'm gagged. I think I got it. Did we do it? Did we do the maths? Nova, another Twitch friend, I think, is vending at Momo. Oh, nice! In Atlanta? I love that. Never been. But you're gonna have to send me tons of pictures. Okay. So rows 12 through 22 are literally singles. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to do a couple singles here real quick, just to get us going. And then I am gonna mark it. I'm actually gonna mark it with a fancier one. I don't know where my, aha, it is over there. I'm gonna mark it with a fancier stitch marker so we can tell where the rounds of just the singles start. I think that would be intelligent if we did that. I actually have this adorable, okay. Y'all have to see this adorable set of stitch markers I got back in Phoenix. Okay. If they can all straighten the fuck out. There's a light purple one circulating somewhere as well, because there were 6 of them in the set. But they are a pastel rainbow cacti group. I don't know where the last one went. I will have to find it at some point. It's around here. But we have our pastel rainbow cacti. I found these in Phoenix, but she has her own big cartel site. So we're gonna use this to mark. And then we have a stretch break coming up. So what that means for all of you, stretch break is when we hit ads on Twitch. Unfortunately, ads are an unwelcomed bit here in the community. We don't like ads, but they just keep tending to happen. But what we can do is just make sure we're not doing anything fun while, you know, people are missing it on ads. So we reach for the sky, we touch our toes, we get a drink, we get a snack, we go check in on partners and animals if needed, and then we come back and we keep cross-stitching more. So we got about 1.5 minutes until that happens. Blue Opal, how are you, my love? I'm so glad you're doing all right. Love that. So this is the part where Kirby's body is actually going to take full shape. I'm wondering if we can actually, like, power through and get most of this body done today. See if we can keep going. Pook, I'm trying. I'm not normally this fast. Like, listen, rule number 1, we enable. Rule number 2, refer to rule number 1. Rule number 3, Liz never finishes anything. So the fact that we're making Progresso soup is impressive. But we have ads coming up in about 5 seconds, so I'm gonna go hit BRB. And I will see you back here in just a few minutes.